Hey everybody, Anthony here, fresh from watching Monuments Men, which was shown at the CineStar movie theater at Potsdamer Platz. This film was directed and produced by George Clooney, and it also stars, well, George Clooney. Starring alongside him are Matt Damon, Bill Murray, John Goodman, Jean Dujardin, Bob Balaban, Bill Murray, Hugh Bonneville, Kate Blanchett, Sam Hazeldine, and Dimitri Leonidas. This movie tells the true story of people who had a position in the army, collecting and retrieving stolen paintings, well, not just paintings, but sculptures and many other artworks that were stolen by the Nazis and retrieve them back to their original countries. And their main mission is to return the Madonna and her child, which was stolen from Bruges. This movie had an interesting history to it, so to say. This was based on the true life events of those same art retrievers, and they were also recorded in a nonfiction book of the same title. And overall, I have to say, this movie was pretty good. And it was very enjoyable. I really enjoyed every moment of it. However, there are some flaws that I've seemed to notice, but they're quite minimal, which I'll get to later. Story-wise, like I said, it was very enjoyable and quite engaging as well. What really makes the story for me are the characters, which I'll also get to later. But more than anything, the story was very engaging. Sure, we've seen allies band together for one cause and to basically achieve that cause for the greater good. This is nothing really new. I mean, we've seen that happen over and over again, but here it's nothing really new. It's something that has been done, well, for years and years and years on end. But still, that doesn't stop the story from being any more engaging and any more exciting and enjoyable. And plus, there are some light moments and some comedic moments to balance all of the actiony stuff and some of the thrilling stuff that were played in the movie. And plus, there were some really tender moments, like how the Allies basically treated each other like best friends. They weren't just comrades, but they treated each other like friends. And the relationship between Claire and James was also quite nice as well, even though James himself was married. Still, this is a very engaging character driven story, even though a lot of the events were based in real life. There were times that I found the beginning scenes to be quite slow, but the later acts pretty much made up for it. And what I got in the end was something very enjoyable, something that didn't leave me bored, yet sometimes the plot of allies banding together and getting something that's very important, getting the mission done, I feel like it's done before. And it kind of shows that it's been overdone here and there. But still, there's no denying that I really enjoyed the movie and I enjoyed its story. Cinematographically speaking, I felt that it was absolutely great. I mean, this movie was definitely on a big budget and it was shot in various locations. I mean, you had some of the scenes shot in the USA, some scenes shot in Germany, some scenes shot in France and Belgium. And I thought, wow, that just really shows how how much they've spent on making something that good on a cinematography level. Plus, I really, really love all of the architectures, especially the Neuschwanstein Castle, which I've yet to go, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. It makes me really want to go to that place, and definitely the cinematography is definitely fantastic, and it's something that's really worth seeing, well, just to get some eye candy. So, cinematographically speaking, it was gorgeous. It was well shot, and of course, great attention to detail was absolutely there. And musically speaking, this movie basically relies on orchestral music, though there are times that jazz music is played, especially that of Have Yourself a Merry Christmas, which I thought was quite emotional and I thought it was absolutely um, beautiful. Musically speaking, the music does help heighten the situation of the characters and the situation that they get themselves into, like retrieving all of the artifacts. It has that adventure movie like feel. And the music does a pretty good job in accelerating that feeling. And it's all thanks to, let me get the conductor's name, or excuse me, composer's, Alexandre Desplat's brilliant score. And I do hope that there will be an OST available. Personally speaking, sure, it's absolutely great. But it's not always something to write home about. But still, I do hope that there will be an OST available for this movie so that maybe people who are fans of the music will probably find themselves enjoying it and probably bang their heads to it since it has such an epic feel. Now, I feel that the strongest part of the movie are its characters. Sure, there's nothing special about them, but there's always something great about them. You have um, Frank Stokes, who is pretty much the one who spearheads this mission. He's pretty much someone that is somewhat a leader type, but he's never something that we want to write home about. But still, he's a pretty good character, though let's face it, we've seen this type of character in so many other films. But to me, my most favorite characters definitely have to be Sergeant Richard Campbell and Private Preston Savitz because of the various banters that those two have about many things, and especially when it comes to disagreeing on agreeing with something. It's always fun seeing those two banter about, especially that one scene when a German soldier attempted to shoot Savitz. So Campbell, in return, offers him a cigarette and they all start smoking. And I thought that was a really cute scene. It was a really fun scene nonetheless. Another character that I really, really love was Cate Blanchett's character, Claire. Sure, she didn't really play a small part, or excuse me, she didn't really play a big part in the movie, but she played an important part nonetheless. She was able to help the Monuments Men, well, through Matt Damon's character, Lieutenant James Granger, retrieve the lost artifacts, or the stolen artifacts. She was able to be such an unsung ally to all of them. Another favorite character would also have to be Jean Dujardin's character, Jean-Claude Clermont, who I have to say was absolutely charming and really fun, especially with his chemistry with John Goodman's character, Walter. I felt that their chemistry was really believable. You could really see that they're friends, and you could really see that they really care for each other, that they really want the best for each other. Sure, George Clooney's character is pretty much the character that we see in a lot of films, but he's still very engaging and very fun to watch. And Matt Damon's character, James, well, he's a pretty good character as well. I especially like the moments that he had with Claire because, let's face it, Claire basically starts off as just a secretary for the Germans because of the artwork. But as the film progresses, we see more sides of Claire, that she's not just some secretary, but she's an unsung ally to the Monuments Men, and she does at first feel kind of hesitant to help them, but after some persuasion through James, she decides, well, the best thing to do is help them. And it's a really nice moment between James and Claire where they had dinner together, but while they're having dinner, Claire also helps him out on where each of these artworks are hidden in Germany. So overall, the characters in this movie are definitely good because they have a lot of great moments in chemistry, and the relationships that they really have with each other are that believable. And speaking of characters, the acting is definitely very solid. I mean, George Clooney does a really great job in playing Frank as a very dignified leader. And sure, like I said, his character has been, well, the character types that he has been in other films before, but here I thought he was pretty good. Matt Damon was absolutely um, kind of funny and really charming as James. I mean, he does try to speak French, but a running gag is the local French people know that his French isn't really that great, but rather subpar. But by far my most favorite actors would definitely have to be Bill Murray and Bob Balaban. The way they have these banters with each other is definitely what really makes the film for me. Those constant banters that they have over what they disagree on and what they agree on is definitely a lot of fun. And Jean Dujardin definitely was able to make Jean Claude a very charming and likable character. The same thing I can say with Hugh Bonneville as Donald Jeffries. And speaking of Jean Claude and Donald, I felt that those two were definitely great characters. The relationships they had with the American soldiers were definitely fantastic. And personally, it was very sad to see that they ended up getting killed. And I thought that was just pitiful because I really, really wanted to see them strive throughout the end. I really wanted to see all of the Monuments Men with both Donald and Jean Claude all together in just in all in one piece. But sadly, they ended up being killed off, which was kind of a big letdown for me. But still, overall, I felt that the acting in this movie was all solid. Overall, I definitely enjoyed this movie. It had great acting, well, solid and great acting. A very good story, though nothing special. The characters were definitely good, even though Frank may not always be that unique, and his character types have been in other films, but still, everything about this film was really good and it was very enjoyable for me. So I'm going to basically give this movie a 4 out of 5. It's a really great film, and if you haven't seen it yet, well, go check it out. It's still in theaters, especially here in Germany. And there may have been some flaws in this movie, but it doesn't completely ruin it for me, as I still had a lot of fun. Anyways, what did you think of the movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Or did you think it was kind of meh? Just let me know in the comments, and or even just leave me a message. And stay tuned for my next review, which is going to be an opera review. It's called Berlioz' Le Damnation de Faust, which is going to be shown tomorrow at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. So do expect a review from that. Well, that's all for now. This is Antoni signing off and wishing you all a good night.